We're already 2 minutes late. It says 7:50 on that. It's 7:52, and at 7:52, it's time for the papers.
OTB AM.
Thanks to Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a dedicated call centre.
Liverpool exposed golfing class to deliver another near-death blow on Mourinho. Each of the blows is near death, and it's now just death by 1,000 cuts, really, isn't that it? Irish provinces retain control over their own destinies. I mean, we'll make this point with Alan Quinn a little bit later on, but like another season with only one English team in the last 8. I mean, come on. They've got too many places. There are too many English teams in the Champions Cup. It's time for them all to have a few years in the Challenge Cup to get good at this, to understand what the vagaries of European rugby are like.
Precisely.
Sling your hook, England.
Couldn't agree more. And I think the Exeter Chiefs, we were talking about them this day last week, biggest bottlers in the history of the Champions Cup. Like, how can you show up such amazing domestic form and then completely tank in a more important tournament, or what they say is not as much of an important tournament, but each to their own, I guess. Absolutely. Kill their numbers, add more Pro 14 teams, that's what we need.
Right, let's move on. Irish provinces, we've done that one now. What's next? Oh, here we go. So, United are not fit enough? I mean, really? We'll talk more with Gary Breen, right? Jackson discussions over move. Paddy Jackson, the former Ireland net half, has confirmed he's in talks with a number of clubs that a possible move away from Perpignan. London Irish and Declan Kidney have been linked because obviously Kidney gave him his debut, so we'll see if there's anything in that or if that's just the agent driving up his price because he's bailing from Perpignan as they get relegated. No way Jose, except it's no way Jose. Super sub Shaqiri piles pressure on Mourinho. So are there odds on the next one in the Manchester United dugout? Zinedine Zidane is 5-4 favourite. Antonio Conte is 6-1. Mauricio Pochettino is 7-1. So you got to just get Pochettino, right?
For next manager, though, there is a growing sense that he's not going to make the end of the season. I think they'd be stupid to let him see out the rest of the season. They have to provide not only the fans but the players with some sort of hope before May or June. And Mauricio Pochettino may become available at that point, but they will need a stopgap filler between now and then. They need to get rid of him now, basically.
ARC to slash prize money by 3 million over FOBT curb concerns. So, Arena Racing Company, ARC, is to reduce its contribution to prize money by 3 million. The first evidence of racecourses tightening their belts as a result of the government's crackdown on FOBTs. FOBTs are the betting terminals in shops, so that's one of those complicated racing funding stories. And when you think about the difficulties that the greyhound industry is going through at the moment, you can see why everybody would be quite keen to protect their own incomes. United hit by Shack attack. When Liverpool fans chant, "Don't sack Mourinho," it must be time for the axe, says Eamon Sweeney. Leinster focused on Toulouse decider. O'Loughlin reminds Cullen of his quality. Taylor eyes mega bouts in 2019, so Katie Taylor, the big winner at the weekend. And the new GAA rules are not good for the game, says Turlock O'Brien. He's not alone in saying that. There's a few managers coming out at the weekend. Cian O'Neill is one of the voices that's saying, actually, you know what, maybe we should just give this a go and see what happens. I was excited by the new challenge. Now, Turlock O'Brien did get beaten by Cian O'Neill's team. Cian O'Neill had said that before the game, so maybe Turlock O'Brien had that thought in advance. But anyway, when seeking reasons for defeat, Munster need look no further than themselves, says Donal Lenihan. Don't be blaming the referee, lads. That's his point. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Tracy Kennedy there, looking to the future. Kennedy declares new era for Cork GAA, lauds positive tie-up with Croke Park. This story has not been fully explained just yet. Significant difference between what Tracy Kennedy is saying and what the Irish Examiner were reporting in terms of the amount of money that was overspent at Páirc Uí Chaoimh. The original budget was like 60-something million, and then Páirc Uí Chaoimh, Cork County Board came out and said, oh, it's actually going to be 80-something. Like, I mean, I'm not that good at maths, but 20 over 60 is a 33% overrun, and it's millions. This is not like a €20 overspend on a €60 bill. It's 20 million extra. And now it turns out it's probably going to be 100%. 60 over 60, potentially.
Oh, well, 110 million, I think, was the final. So
50,
close to
100%. And well, I mean, does that include all the interest payments?
Maybe not.
Let's see, I don't know. Maybe the 110 includes all the interest payments, and that's what's happening here. But it's a bit mad. Like, and I mean, I know that you're in charge of an organisation. You've got to come out and say, yeah, it's really positive that we're getting this help from Croke Park. But like, how did it get to that point in the first place? Yeah,
but look, she's saying it's only €86 million, which is still an overspend. So she's saying it's not a bad overspend, it's just an overspend. Which I don't think there are too many degrees of that can vary in terms of how bad it is.
These are the kind of low standards we have in Irish public life. That's like, sure, grand, it's only money, isn't it? But like, it's not.
There is still, in terms of the actual story, it is still a €24 million difference in what we've been getting information-wise.
Yeah, there's a
so
meeting,
what is going on here?
There's a meeting tonight after which there's an expectation that there's going to be a statement. But I'm amazed that none of the local politicians have been like, okay, show us, open the books, let's see exactly where that money went. Who got that money? Where was the overspend? Why was it so impossible for us to predict what the cost of building a stadium is going to be when, like, a couple of QSs would probably on the back of an envelope be able to write down, well, this much concrete, these many seats, this much work, these many people, this amount of time. There you go. And there's penalties for not hitting those. Like, I don't know, maybe just in Ireland we can't build infrastructure without it being massively more expensive than people tell you it's going to be.
Maybe. Like, I wonder, was all of this planned to be sort of glossed up with the idea of having the Rugby World Cup? Because actually getting the green light in public funds, the 30 million quid that the government put forward towards Páirc Uí Chaoimh, was given the go-ahead because the Rugby World Cup was supposed to be coming to the country and there was supposed to be this big, lucrative, worldwide event coming to Cork. I do wonder if that wasn't a possibility down the line, or if they knew that the bid would fail so miserably, would the government have actually got behind this, and would this have been allowed to happen? As
in, they would have buried it after you win. So after you win, don't worry about the overrun.
Exactly. That's my theory on it. Back page of the Irish Daily Mail is bowing down. Geezer says GAA letting pundits dictate rules. We'll come back to that a little bit later on in the show. Kieran McGeaney, one of the voices who's not quite happy with the new rules in Gaelic football. Back page of the Herald is pressure on Jose after Liverpool loss as Keane puts the boot in. Shack attack is the big headline, while Brendan Rodgers says he's going to take the blame for Celtic's slump. They lost 2-0 to Hibernian at the weekend. Back page of the Sun is special once. Jose's horror admission: my team don't even compare to Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp says that was one of our best. And you've also got Sweet and Power, Katie Taylor proud as punch after being labelled the female Sugar Ray Leonard. A very, very impressive performance from her at the Garden on Saturday night. Back page of the Mirror is running scared. Jose claims United just can't compete with Liverpool and blames Moyes and Louis van Gaal as they slipped to 1,000 to 1 to win the Premier League title. Back page of the Irish Daily Star is Love Shack. Anfield rocking as woefully United are blown away by Jordan. And Keane lashes out at United. Roy Keane in the pundit's chair yesterday with Sky Sports. Lashed out at Jesse Lingard before the game, lashed out at Paul Pogba after the game.
What did you make of that? So the thing that he was getting hammered for was saying that Pogba needs to get off Instagram and start playing football, basically.
Well, Lingard, the pre-match conversation about players that should only focus on football, the hook for that was Jesse Lingard's new clothing range.
But didn't Pogba come up on it too?
Pogba came up certainly after the game when he was talking about how he's let the manager down and he should be ashamed of himself, or whatever the exact word was. They might have spoken about Paul Pogba before the game as well. I was kind of only half in and out of it. There is a sense, though, when it comes to Roy Keane and Gary Neville, I do wonder, are they being too soft on Jose Mourinho? Or are they right to say that, listen, if any other manager went out at a club of this magnitude and wanted 4 defenders, they would get 4 defenders. And Jose Mourinho, as we saw at the end of last season, couldn't even get one. Now, I think you look at the talent that they do have at their disposal and you look at what Jose Mourinho is getting out of them, he has to take the majority of the blame, and he knows the situation that he's getting himself into with the structure of the football club. And if they're not going to back him, they need to get rid of him. We've been saying this for the last couple of months, really, at this point. And Neville did point out yesterday as well, the pure naivety for Manchester United to actually offer Jose Mourinho a new contract at the start of this calendar year. They really snookered themselves. But then,
most of those contracts have break clauses that the next time the manager gets a job, you sack a manager and then you pay him for a couple of months. It turns out. We've a little bit of insight into this.
Yeah. We'll show you a couple of the UK tabloids this morning. They're also going through the big news from Anfield yesterday. We'll bring you first the Mail. Blown away. Feeble United swept aside by Klopp's aces. We've also got Geraint Thomas there accepting his award. He managed to beat Lewis Hamilton for the Likeability Man of the Year award. So congratulations to Geraint Thomas. Harry Kane coming in third. Next up, this is the Star. Cop that. United legends in a rage at Jose's losers. You've also got Unai saying, we're not going to make top 4. He didn't quite say that. He says he's going to struggle. He says he's also going to struggle to sign a new defender, which Arsenal clearly need. Granit Xhaka and Stefan Lichtsteiner both in the defence yesterday, which wasn't a great look. Next one is the Mirror. Running scared. Jose claims United just can't compete with Liverpool. It's the same on the Irish one. And the next one is Daily Telegraph. Pressure mounts on Mourinho. United trail bitter rivals by 19 points as super sub Shaqiri secures victory. And The Guardian says, we couldn't cope. Mourinho's stark admission after United crash at Anfield. Watching Manchester United, even if you're as fresh as a daisy, you constantly feel like you're hungover watching them. It's watching Ander Herrera pass the ball laterally gives me the fear. You almost sit there and you say to yourself, never again.
Ander Herrera
again. Next weekend you do the exact same thing.
Ander Herrera is a good footballer, right? And actually, under the right manager, would actually literally be able to contribute in a meaningful way on a far more regular basis. That's my theory here, is that Manchester United have loads of good players.
Yes.
And that the manager is the one holding them back. If you stick Pochettino in now, I mean, Pochettino won't come until the end of the season. Right?
That's the thing. Who's your stopgap? Should there be a stopgap?
Like, what's the point? What's the point of the stopgap?
Because it will provide some semblance of hope for the likes of Paul Pogba. Now, you could make the argument that Paul Pogba doesn't deserve that semblance of hope, that he's let himself down in some of his public utterances about Jose Mourinho, but this is just the way it is. Well, he's too good for him to be cast out in the cold.
You can't give somebody a stopgap and tell them they're a stopgap, right?
Did Roman Abramovich do that with Gus Hiddink? He probably did, and it worked out pretty well. And like, players had that sense that at the end of the season it was like, okay, Chelsea is coming back in the right direction post Jose, or was it post AVB? I can't even quite remember.
It was everybody. He had two
stints.
He had 2 goals. Avram Grant had a stint and took them to the Champions League final. It turned out Roberto Di Matteo was really a caretaker manager. We didn't realise that at the time. But like, you can do it, right? It's just that that's not a Manchester United thing to do. What's the point? Well, they've had gigs, right? So they have done it before. I don't think at a club like Manchester United it's going to work. I think that if you're going to put somebody in and say, we're doubling down and we're keeping Pogba, you need somebody who's going to be the manager into next season. So when they walk in on day one, they're looking at Pogba and going, what's the story? I'm going to make you the best player in the world. You have to do what I tell you. But if you're doing that and you're telling me you're gone in the summer, I'm looking at you going, I'm gone in the summer too. Mm-hmm. So either sell him now and do whatever deal you can do. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's such a... Like, the issue is Ed Woodward and the issue is the Glazers, really. Like,
but I think we need to get into the acceptance that those two parts aren't going to change. That there is a huge likelihood that in 12 months' time Ed Woodward will still be in his position. His position is more secure than Jose Mourinho's.
Way more,
you would say. So, like,
well, he makes loads of money for the people who are interested in making money.
We need to forget about that. Like, as angry as that makes some Manchester United fans feel, we need to forget about that eventuality that they might wake up to their senses and say to themselves, well, the right footballing decision here would be to replace Ed Woodward. That is not going to happen. Ed Woodward will make a call soon to get rid of Jose Mourinho. It depends how soon. Is he going to do it in May? Is he going to do it now? Is he going to do it maybe midway between now and the end of the season? We just don't know. But he is going to make that decision at some point. So why not make it when you know what's going to happen? If Zinedine Zidane is available, you poach him right now and you get Jose Mourinho out of Manchester United. But I would say that they've stalled so long already in this absolutely pathetic stance that Zinedine Zidane has no interest whatsoever in coming to Manchester United. That their real hope now is on Maurizio Pochettino. And when are they going to get him? Next summer.
I mean, also, Pochettino plays decent football at Spurs, where he's got Christian Eriksen, Harry Kane and Dele Alli. Is he going to, they're going to have to spend a lot of money to get those players, or players of that quality, to their forward line. Maybe they don't. Maybe
there's Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford,
Martial, and
every bit as good as Eriksen and Ali. The thing is, the number 9 really.
Rashford, yeah. So you just sell him, get somebody better.
Sell Lukaku.
Yeah.
Potentially. Like, I'm obviously of the belief that a better manager can get a lot better out of that player.
I actually don't think so. I think that Lukaku this is Lukaku. This is what Lukaku has always been. He's great at Everton. I think like that is Lukaku's level.
I'd love to see him under another manager at Manchester United. I'd love to see him under another manager.
They should sell him to Arsenal if they can. Arsenal probably don't need him. They should sell him to Chelsea again.
But the thing is, maybe he's just in the wrong era as a football player.
Yeah. Sensational in the 80s, sensational in the 90s, pretty good in the noughties.
There's no Premier League team that will make the Arsenal certainly won't the way they're playing. Liverpool definitely wouldn't. Manchester City definitely wouldn't. Chelsea perhaps.
Leeds next season.
Leeds next season. There you go. There you go right there. Golden boot.
Except they have a manager who's like an absolute football genius who's probably looking at Lukaku going, absolutely no way, I don't want him.
It's such snobbery, the anti-Lukaku sentiments, but they're from people who are very, very qualified in football, so maybe it's correct snobbery.
Veltman on Cork says, seems that most construction projects go over budget. Look at the Tottenham Stadium, which right now is at 59% more and we still don't know what it'll be. Harsh for Munster when there was off-the-ball hits, eye-gouging, penalty after penalty, and even a two-footed slide tackle was tossed in there for the disallowed try. Barnes had an absolute shocker, says Aidan Dineen. And then Cormac Sheehan says, Munster fans are not blaming Wayne Barnes. Well, they are. They're definitely blaming Wayne Barnes. David Lynch says, this great Liverpool team has Mo Salah's top goal scorer award to show for all of this so-called success. I saw a lot of people arguing about this over the weekend, that, you know, what really has Jurgen Klopp done?
He's beaten every single team in the Premier League.
And Jose Mourinho's won trophies. He's won a Europa League. And so therefore, he's had a more successful time at Manchester United than Jurgen Klopp's had at Liverpool. And that's fine. You can totally and utterly follow sport and be the person who looks at result, and go, okay, that is all that matters. And if you, because when you're a child and you start reading the sports pages and the sports results, you kind of feel like you know a bit about it, and you know, you read the results from the 4 divisions in English football, and you're like, ooh, that Shrewsbury team won 3 games in a row. Wow, I know a lot about Shrewsbury football. And then actually it turns out that's not why you follow sport. You follow sport to be thrilled and to be terrified and to be on the edge of your seat. And that is exactly what Liverpool have done. They have completely enervated the entire city, the history of the club, the following of it. It means something at the moment to be a Liverpool fan. To be a Manchester United fan at the moment means to be angry, frustrated.
Does it though?
Upset about
the fact
Where is the
anger? Where is the anger towards Jose Mourinho? And it's like the Manchester United fans, I wish I had their patience.
Fatigued
maybe
by sports.
Maybe that's it. Maybe they're just completely fed up with this and they don't even have the energy to protest against this abhorrent showing that they've seen over the last couple of months.
Bored by the greatness in front of you. The greatness. Yeah, okay, well done. You spent so much money on those players and you've won all those... You've won all those trophies. It's great, you know.
You should be personally insulted. I don't understand why people are talking in that manner. I saw a bit of the discourse as well, particularly on social media, about Klopp. What has he won yesterday? Why is that the discussion? Like, Jurgen Klopp bringing on Ger and Eoin yesterday in a game where last season they would have had a very good chance of drawing that game last season, where ultimately that bizarre goal that Liverpool concede turns the game. It turns the performance into a stale one. They suddenly forget what they're all about. And the one thing that invigorates it is the Jurgen Klopp signing, a Jurgen Klopp move. Possibly one of the biggest bargains we're ever likely to see in the Premier League if Liverpool go on to win the league this year. You have to say he has to go down as one of the biggest bargains if he continues this form and Liverpool win the league. Because if they're going to win the league, they're going to have to put down one of the greatest Premier League seasons we've ever seen. They're already on course to do that. Joint best defensive record after 17 games of a Premier League season, right up there with the 05-06 Chelsea team, I think, who, if they continue that record between now and the end of the season, will concede only 7 more goals. That was how good that Jose team was, and it is incredible that it's juxtaposed with how terrible Manchester United are at the moment. He's lost his way entirely, and Liverpool have found theirs.
We'll talk all those points with Gary Breen in a couple of minutes' time.